Hey there, how are you? There's some talk that formula columns are making business rules obsolete and that they will be deprecated sooner than later. But we're not there yet. My name is Jorge and in this video I'm going to show you 6 ways in which you can leverage business rules. First, let's see how they work and how you can set them up. Open the table you want to work with and select Business Rules. Click New Business Rule and expand here so you can name it. Also notice this scope selector here. With this, you can choose to apply the rule to the table, to all forms, or to this form in particular. This means you have some granularity to work with, though entity is probably your first choice since it runs server-side and ensures the rule is followed if you interact with the data in ways other than forms, such as Power Automate flows. To set up a rule, start with a condition. Let's say priority is high. Also noticing your rule is being described in this box here. Then select a component and drag it either to the true or false ramification. And click apply. Once you're happy, save. Validation should be successful and activate. The rule won't run if not activated. And should you need to change it, you must first deactivate it. Now, let's go through some examples. A recommendation can be used for helping the user with additional information on manipulating a field. In this scenario, whenever a case's priority is set to high, we want to urge the user to provide as much detail as possible so that the case can be handled more efficiently, and we also want to suggest that he notifies the customer service manager of this new case. So let's drag a recommendation component next to the condition, and let's select the field on which it should be noted. We can give it a title also, and the text that will be available for the user. Then we can set up an action to go along with this recommendation, and in this case we want to suggest that another user gets notified. And save it and then activate the business rule. Let's now create a new case. Just do a refresh first. New, set priority to high, and now you can notice this light bulb here with the text we have provided, and also an apply button that will set the notify field to the user we have selected. Lock allows for setting fields as read-only. In this scenario, when we create a case, it gets created in the new status reason. And we want to be able to edit fields for cases that are in the new status reason. But once a case evolves to a new status, meaning that it's already being worked on, we want to lock some fields. Let's see how we can do that. Let's set our condition on status reason and new. When status reason is new, we want to be able to edit our fields. For our example, let's use the account field. So in this case, we want the field account to be open for editing. Otherwise, else, we want the field to be locked. Account locked. I didn't apply this one. So if you look at the business rule description, if status reason is new, unlock account, else lock account. Let's save this and activate. And now let's see the business rule in action. Just a refresh. And let's choose one of these new cases. And the account field is open for editing. Now let's change this to ongoing. And as you can see, you already have this lock icon here and you can't change this field. Error messages allows us to communicate to the user when something is wrong. In this case, we are going to show an error message every time a case gets created with priority high and no service agreement is assigned to it. Does not contain data. This is our condition. Priority is high and service agreement does not contain data. Let's drag the component next to the condition. Choose the field on which the error should be shown, and in this case is service agreement, and type in a message to show the user. Apply, save, and activate. Let's now see this in action. Maybe a refresh first. New case. And when I set priority to high, the message is shown to the user so he knows what to do next. Set field values are useful for setting values on text, numeric, date, time, and lookup fields. and can use some business logic to go with it. In this scenario, we will be setting a resolved by expected date time depending on the case priority. So we'll start with a condition when priority is set to low and drag the component next to the true evaluation and set resolved by to create it on plus 3 days. Then we are adding another condition. So if it's not low and priority is normal, then we are going to set the field value of resolved by to create it on plus 2 days. And else. So if it's not low, if it's not normal, then it must be high. In that case, we want to set resolved by to create it on plus 1 day. Don't forget to look at the description. This really helps. So if priority is low, then create it on plus 3 days, else priority normal, create it on plus 2 days, else create it on plus 1 day. Let's save this and activate. And give it a try. Discard. We'll refresh first. New case and low. We have to save this. So resolved by save. And it resolved by expected was set to 3 days from now. Let's change this to normal and save. And then we have 2 days from now. And finally, I, and in this case, we need a service agreement. Okay, that last earlier business rule is still in place, and save, and then it's 1 day from now. The set business required component allows you to control whether a field should be mandatory or optional. In this scenario, we have already made a count mandatory at the support case table level, and when a new case gets created now, it must be assigned to an account. For the contact field, the rules are more relaxed for low and normal priority. But when it comes to high priority cases, the contact field should be mandatory as well. So our condition will work on priority, and should it be high, we want to set contact as business required. If it's not high, then contact is not business required. always evaluate the need to set what happens on the false side of the rule, especially because users can set a value that evaluates to true but then change it, and if you haven't defined what happens when the false route is taken, the first evaluation will persist. Let's activate this rule. And let's try it out. Refresh here. New case. And now when I set priority to high, you can see that contact becomes required. If I change this back to normal, it's not required anymore. With a visibility component, we can show or hide fields based on a condition. In this scenario, whenever a star rating is below 4, we want to show a new field, customer feedback, that will need to be filled further down the line after a service rep calls the customer and gets some feedback on the case. So for our condition, we are going to evaluate star rating, and whenever its value is 1 or its value is 2 or star rating is 3. Our condition, star rating equals 1 or 2 or 3. And what we want to do is set the visibility of customer feedback to yes. On the other hand, should the star rating be different from these values, we want to hide that same customer feedback field. If the condition evaluates to true, show customer feedback, else hide customer feedback. Save this one and activate it so we can go and try it out. Let's create a new case, but before do a refresh. New, star rating 1 and customer feedback is shown. Star rating 2, star rating 3. But once I select 4, the field is hidden, and in this case it's inside a section, so the whole section gets hidden. Just to make sure, let's get back to 3, and there you go. I believe there's a lot of value in business rules, but I would love to hear your take on this. Leave your thoughts on the comments, and please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and help spread the word. See you soon!